For the days of tomorrow, and from the lives in our past, veterans should be honored and remembered as heroes of our nation. Why do I think veterans are important to our history and our future? This particular question is a good one, considering there are many different ways it could be answered, and many different ways people will interpret it. I believe that the valiant men and women who are veterans hold the very structure of our nation in their hands, preserving history with hard-fought battles, and they will certainly not abandon the future of our nation, continuing to spread their knowledge and love to maintain this beautiful country that is America. Throughout the history of America, there have been numerous wars and battles that have been fought. In the Vietnam War, there were more than 58,220 casualties, and plenty others inhabilitated or seriously injured. These veterans of war have shaped our country today, and I have had the personal experience of growing up with a grandfather whom is a veteran himself. In the Vietnam War, Captain John Pierman commanded the 4th Infantry Division. I am very lucky and pleased to still have him in my life, and glad that I was able to ask him a few questions. When presented with this year's topic, he was very interested and pleased that he could help me out by sharing his personal experience. He told me this: "Being a veteran means to me that I got the privilege to serve and protect my country." After which, he continued to tell me that while overseas, he saw and experienced living conditions that made him appreciate America as a country even more. To my grandfather, being a veteran and being able to serve the country is an honor, but I believe it's an honor to be related to someone who thinks so. Without men and women like my grandfather fighting in the wars, America's history would be riddled with despair and loss, rather than a rich tale of hard work and perseverance. Not all veterans today live in luxury and comfort. As of March 20th, at the beginning of 2014, a PBS article declares that the unemployment rate for veterans is 21.7%. This is lower than the average recorded last year, but still unnecessarily high. We all belong to the future of America, be it your neighbor, that person you saw by themselves on the street, and our veterans. When we look to the future, we desperately cling to the fact that it's going to be bright, and each and every one of us contributes to that outcome. Veterans hold up a foundation and an example for our nation's youth, influencing them in ways that will affect the future of the country. It makes me incredibly sad to be out in the street and hear a child tell their mother that they don't want to be a pilot or a Marine because they're afraid they won't have a job after the war is over. Still, this does not stop our youth from aspiring for greatness, because there will always be someone who will influence them in ways unimaginable. To this day, the veterans of foreign wars of the United States and other numerous organizations are finding jobs for these veterans who have unfortunately fallen on hard times. It is important that we continue to do so, for as Dr. Betsy Patterson, the director of American Folklore, once said, "History is much more than facts and dates. It's people." Those men and women who fought in the wars for America, they are the living history that support America's core. They are the ones whom without a Declaration of Independence would hold no meaning to a misguided king. They are the ones who support the country in times of need, backed by the people. Sometimes books are there to tell it like it is. The battles were bloody and horrific, and they are. It only takes the brave deeds of veterans, some born ready, willing to stand up to fight for the country, and others, the ones who are unexpectedly drafted, pulled into a war of which they did not want to be a part of. It is those people whom I admire most. Both are equally brave, but sometimes being simply brave and having the courage to stand up for what's right are two separate matters. Courage to stand up for your country, for your rights. That's the kind of material recorded in history books and passed down and admired for generations upon generations. Some people believe it is only great power that can keep the evil in check. That is not what I have found. I have found that it is the small, everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keep the darkness at bay. This quote was spoken by Gandalf in The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey. I believe this group of sentences holds greater meaning than simply a cheesy quote from a movie. Small acts of kindness and love towards others. It's the little things that we can do for our veterans to repay them for just a fraction of what they've done for our country. Acts that they have done are chiseled in stone among the history books, and acts that will affect the future, for years and years after their lives are spent, and their importance will always live on in the hearts of the people.